Welcome to our very first edition of The Psychic Baker. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to be here today and show you how to make our family cake, which has been renowned in this family for forever, and it's called the Death by Chocolate Cake or the Bruce Bogtrotter Cake from Matilda. So if there's ever a chocolate treat that our kids want, Mum, can you make the cake, please? Can you do it now? So, firstly, I've measured all my ingredients out because I'm a bit of a messy cook. And I couldn't bear the thought of you seeing me drip and drop everything like I normally do. I'm very messy. So I measured them all out, and we're going to do the dry ingredients first. I'm going to use a freestanding mixer because I just think that makes me feel better. And in this we are going to put 3 cups. Everything in this recipe is measured in cups. So 3 cups of all-purpose flour. For the people in the UK, plain flour. As a tip, if ever you see all-purpose flour and you forget what that is, if you look down and it says baking powder and baking soda, then you know that's plain, because the baking soda and baking powder make the cake rise. And we have 3 cups of caster sugar. See how clean I am. And we have 3 cups. No, we do not have 3 cups, Paula, silly Billy. We have 1.5 cups of unsweetened cocoa powder. I haven't sieved that. I haven't sieved the flour either because it gets quite well mixed up. And in here, we have a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and a tablespoon of baking soda. And that just goes in. And that's the dry ingredients. So now we're going to add the wet ingredients. I've measured all of this out, and I'll just show you down here just how we're kind of doing it. We are going to add 1.5 cups of buttermilk, and it just goes directly into the mixed dry ingredients. We're going to add 4 large eggs. We are adding 1/2 cup of oil. The oil just takes the place of any butter. And this is the secret ingredients that makes this cake just delicious. It is 1.5 cups of warm coffee. Now I have used 3 teaspoons of Kenko coffee, and we just pour that in, and it just needs to be warm, not too hot. And we then have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. The only thing I didn't measure out. So 2 teaspoons of vanilla. This used to be my mum's, honestly. I would eat this cake for breakfast. It's probably why I'm fat, but never mind. She used to do it with pineapple and fresh cream, and there's chocolate fudge and then Cadbury's dairy buttons on the top. It was insane. And we're now going to just blitz this, and it needs just a gentle mix at first. It is important when you mix this cake with any of these freestanding mixers to give it a good scrape down at least once or twice, because the actual paddle blade doesn't get right to the sides and it doesn't get right down to the centre of the bowl. So I always usually just give it a little scrape down once or twice and then continue mixing. Just mixing it down there and just incorporating all the little dry bits that just might have stayed. In the meantime, you want to put your oven on 350. I'll work out what the, I think it's 170, but I'll put it in the instructions. So it's 170 fan I have mine on. That's had a nice little scrape down. It's quite a wet mixture, moist, I hate that word, moist mixture. And then we're just going to give that one final spludge down. Put it into 3 tins. It's 3 tins that I've already lined and done with a baking parchment. There is a separate video I've already said that you can watch on how to line them. I know it sounds silly, but it's actually quite a technical thing to get it quite right. I like to measure the ingredients with a cup to make sure that they all get an equal proportion. They get around 3 cups each, and I just measure it and put 3 cups in each one separately. And just because I know people at home do this, I can't help it. And all of you screaming, she's eating raw egg. Don't do it if you're pregnant though. Oh my God, it's amazing. Brings me back to when I was like 4 years old. So we're now just going to pop these in preheated oven, 170, 350. I'm going to put 2 at the top, and I'm going to put 1 at the bottom, and we're going to leave them in there for 35 minutes. So now we're going to make the best bit, the topping. It's fudge. Well, I call it fudge, not really sure what the name is. Frosting, chocolate frosting. And it is made with butter. I use it slightly salted. You can add salt if you use unsalted butter, but I just like the salty butter. I just love butter. Honestly, I just have to apologise for my love of food and my unashamed love of me. I love me. I think I'm fab. And I just, my husband thinks I'm gorgeous, so. And I'm really healthy before new fattists start going on. Because I know when they watch them on, they're like, my God, has she eaten all the cake? I actually don't eat the cake. Because I know what goes in it. No, I do eat the cake, but very small amounts. Anyway, moving on swiftly. So this is 1.5 cups of butter. Get whatever kind of butter's on. It needs to be soft, you see, it's nice and God, did you hear that sound? Like a loopy sound. Oh, that's a nice sound. So 1.5 cups of butter and a very large, this is a family pack of Philly. You can get different cheeses, but this one sets nice. Sometimes I use Aldi, that's quite nice, but this is Philadelphia and this is 340 grams and this is softened. These have been left out of the fridge for about 2-3 hours just to soften up, so just at room temperature. And we're going to put them in there and then we are going to mix this quite strongly on quite a high setting. I'm going to beat it for about 2 minutes, give it a good beating, and then it will be nice and soft. So here we are, this is how the mixture should look. You see it's all nice and gloopy. And we're just going to mix that on fast for a couple of minutes. Now it does need a lot of scraping down, this mixture, because it needs to be incorporated the whole time. So keep on taking it from the outsides and just making it go in the middle. And you can see it's such a soft, just falls off the spoon. It is such a soft mixture. Honestly, it's just yummy. Into this mixture now, we've just added 1.5 cups of unsweetened cocoa powder. But before I mix it round, I'm going to use the guard because I have had a disaster before, once or twice, and all the cocoa powder has come absolutely all over me. Paula covered in cocoa, a cocoa covered Paula. See, I told you I was messy. Now I'm just a messy cook. And remember that this is the same principle as when doing the wet mixture in the actual sponge cake, that it does need a scrape down just to incorporate all of it. So I'm going to do this by hand with my trusty scraper. And if Jamie Oliver happens to be watching this, he probably really should to learn how to make this cake. I'm sure it would do him well. Well, he'd probably ban it, mind. But this is one of his spatulas. Not his personally, but he designed it. My favourite spatula in the whole world. I just keep breaking the ends of the spatulas, but this is one of his, so I'm not getting paid for that, by the way. Just telling you as it is. So we can scrape it down and then give it one final blitz. Just going to pour the vanilla extract in little teaspoon kind of sizes. I've been doing it that much, but maybe you should measure. And then we'll give it another mix round. For this bit, I really do recommend that you do use one of these guards if you have, because I swear, not only have I been a chocolate covered Paula, I've been an icing sugar covered Paula as well. It's just amazing. You know what doing this with icing sugar, right? When you shake it and you put it in the pack and the powder comes off it and you can taste or inhale the flames. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just really weird. So we are going to pour in one at a time the cocoa into the cocoa powder, icing sugar, and this takes about 7 cups of icing sugar. And as you can see now, this is all incorporated and it's made quite a dark mixture. Hope you can see that nicely. But it's a mixture that will still fall off the spoon. So I've got a cake turntable, little swivelly thing. Got this from Amazon. And I do collect plates just because I like so many cakes and things. I like it to stand nice. I've got this. This is just from TK Maxx. It's only a £5. I do like a bargain. And here are the cakes I made earlier in true Blue Peter tradition on this lovely 3-tier cooling rack, which I got for Christmas actually from my nearest and dearest. I absolutely love it because it can come off. Look, you can take one off, so you can cool 1, 2 or 3 things. I think that's absolutely really good. So we are going to take the sponges off. And we're going to put what initially was the top flat down so that we always have a nice flat surface to put the topping on, which is now going to be spread on top. You can, at this stage, fill this with all sorts of lovely things, but I'm just going to make this very basic in honour of my mum. And we are just going to splodge, so it's nice and spreadable now, just to put the filling in. Some of you will be watching this, I expect you're proper professionals and you'll be absolutely appalled at what I'm doing. You might be, oh my God, why is she not using an icing bag? And well, I've tried all that malarkey. It's just the way you do it, isn't it? So if you want to use an icing bag, you fill your boots. I just like doing it this way. And we're going round and round and round. Spin me round, round, baby, right round, like a record. Anyway, never mind, enough to that, man. Name the song. Or I could sing the Kylie Minogue song, but maybe not. So that one goes. Then we put the second one on. So these have been nice and cooled. And that's going to go again, top to bottom. I'm going to make it nice and firm. You need to press it like firm down with a good old press. Joe and Jess, I don't know if you've used fresh bread, like you get the fresh sliced bread. And whenever Jess, my daughter, some of you will know Jess, because she comes to all my events. And whenever she makes sandwiches, if it's in white bread, she always presses it down. And you always have a handprint in it. So Jess special. I always know she's made it. Usually, she's tried a bit. She nibbles it. So we're going to just do this on the second one. You can put jam in it if you want to. You can put some cherries in it, so it could be a bit black foresty. If you like alcohol, you can prick the cake and you can pour in some Tia Maria. You could pour in some cherry brandy. You can kind of make it a bit of a tipsy cake. Quite a lot of fudge on this because I like the frosting, because I like a nice definition when you cut into it. You could, if you wanted to, just have the 2 layers, but we've always done it with 3, just because it makes a nice big cake. I think that's a wow factor of it, the fact that it tends to be so tall. And we're just going to put the final one on. You can see how tall it is. It's just lovely. And that is, we're going to put it in the fridge afterwards, so don't worry if it wobbles. The only thing that you need to do is keep making sure that it stays upright and level. Now, as I said, I'm going to keep it rustic. And I'm just going to keep on putting it on. I'm going to pour it on the top there with a spatula. And then I'm going to get my very trusted palette knife. There we go. Can't believe I just did that. And we are going to, because I didn't do it with the cream on it. And we're going to just spread it round. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue around the outside, but keep making sure that the cake remains stable. And to be honest, I probably should have not put the extra bit of milk in it. But you can always blitz it with some more ice and sugar if you find it's a bit loose. It is going to go into the fridge so it will have a chance to set. And we're just going to go right round the outside in an uneven manner. There's no skill to this. Some of you out there may decide that you want to do it and have the completely beautiful outside cake, but I wanted to do this very retro in a 1980s kind of style. So we're just going to go round and round the whole cake the whole time. So I've gone round and round and round and round, and just with the palette knife, just giving it a nice rough edge. And it's just reminds me of the old chocolate fudge cake that you used to get at pubs and restaurants way back in the 80s. And for me, that's enough. I think that's enough of that on it. I'm going to decorate it with my go-to decoration. It needs to be simple. If you want to, you could ice it. You could do some little whirly bits on the top and whirly bits down the bottom. But for me, it's a trusty favourite, Cadbury's flake. And we just literally crumble it all over the top. And do you remember the advert from the 80s? Those of you that are watching this will remember it. Only the crumbliest, flakiest chocolate. And they used to have this gorgeous girl on a canoe for some reason. I'm not really sure what the canoe has to do with Cadbury's chocolate. All we do is that we just literally go crumbling it. About 2 flakes, 2 or 3 flakes should do the trick. And we just crumble it. I've kept these out again at room temperature because otherwise if you keep them in the fridge they tend to get a bit hard. And what this cake does need is to be set, just to allow all that chocolate frosting. I'm just pushing it all the way to the edge. All that chocolate frosting just to be nice and firm, and so that we don't get a bit of a wobble on. See, I told you I was messy. And we're just going to go all the way around. It's my son's favourite, as you see. And there we have Paula's Death by Chocolate Cake. I hope you enjoy. I think I should have a little bit. Slimmy World, 20 cents.